What's up, everybody? This is Ripples and Wales back for another video. I hope you're all doing well and having a great day wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing. Monday, 3rd of November, 7 AM local Wales time. Welcome back to the show. Well, I didn't manage to get any content over the weekend. I had a bit of a chill time. The markets are chopping sideways at the minute and there's a lot of noise on crypto Twitter. And sometimes in these situations, it's best just to take a step back and do some other stuff. I think the whole of November is going to be pretty much like this. And if so, you either take some time to go and learn a new skill, like in crypto, get your real life stuff in order, maybe focus on like your plans, your exit strategies, tweak the kind of the nuts and bolts, the engineering behind your plans, or just push crypto to the side for the minute and have a bit of a focus elsewhere. It's not quite the time for me to be kind of unlocking in, if that makes sense. I am still very much locked in, but I think in times where you're seeing sentiment turn so bad on crypto Twitter, then yeah, it's best to take a step back and be like, okay, cool, we'll let the timeline reset, because I know where we are. I've got a very, very good feel for these kind of things, and so I've got no concern. But you've just got to let the markets play out and do their thing, which is the patience plays game. I had a friend come over yesterday, and we were talking about a lot of things. I had to bring him up to speed on the markets, the structure, what I thought was going on, and things. And I urged him to really lock in over the next 6 months. And I said, I think people will be made or broken in the next 6 months. As in, if you spend enough time in the markets the next 6 months, it will change your life. I've got no doubt with that. If people, the other side of things, people who haven't got any of these assets, I believe, I think they may struggle with incoming inflation and print and things like that. So anyway, let's jump into the markets. I am fully going to be locked in, but when crypto Twitter is as crazy as it is, I'll just take a step back. Anyway, this is my X channel. If you haven't seen me on here before, I'm at Ripples and Wales. This will be dropped on YouTube, and there's going to be a following video dropped hopefully today or latest tomorrow on the Rumble channel. But let's have a quick look at the markets. What we got? We've got Bitcoin just traversing. It's at a bit of a wick down to 107. Yeah, it's not as big as the deep wick to 100, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're going back down to 100. We'll see how the markets go. ETH 3700, XRP down at 240, kind of grinding up this long channel. Eyes on everything like that. So first post here by Zach Richter. Crypto YouTube channels getting taken out right before 2025 alt season. And I put a post out saying, correction, XRP focused content YouTube channels are getting taken out right before regulations and price discovery. Now, there's been a slew of strikes as the algorithm has been deliberately tweaked against specific crypto focused channels, and I am noting that a great slew of those accounts that have been given strikes are XRP focused, right? There's Brad Kimes, there's Crypto Airy, there's Nick Crusader, there's a load of channels getting strikes, excuse me. So the algorithm's deliberately been tweaked, and why is that? Why is the YouTube channel striking the channel? Well, they said it's because of harmful content and dangerous content giving false price predictions. That could be the case. I've just got a funny feeling it's not that. And since I'm dropping this on YouTube, I'm going to call YouTube out and say this is not right. You can't do this to people. It's supposed to be a decentralized platform. Again, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is all for entertainment purposes only. But something's not quite right. Do you get what I mean? Anyway, this is a Hodor. He's retweeted something I put down a while ago here. And so that even the OGs are seeing the stuff that I'm seeing. And Hodor is one of the most respected people in the XRP community. He was held up there by BG123 as the top man. His blogs back in 2017 were just unreal, years ahead of his time. And there was this kind of a tweet here saying, Nick, which is on Crypto Crusader, YouTube is targeting my crypto channels. He does a lot of XRP content. And Moon Lambo, you're correct. I find this highly concerning. They want to say the content providing news on projects like XRP is dangerous, and I think the tweet went on to say that it's giving financial advice and detrimental. And the reason for this, Tony Valentino stepped in. It's because we are close. But I knew it. You know, I can sense how the same old people, and we're going to move on to that now, the same old media cartels, the same old platforms, YouTube, Google, Alphabet, the mainstream media, the old banking cartel, the entirety of the financial system has always been against XRP. Why? Because they are challenging the status quo. And this character here is the lead face, the puppet, the clown of the old financial world, always giving people the wrong signals the wrong way. Okay? He is the little mouthpiece for the mainstream media on the financial markets, always sending the Joe Retail the wrong direction. Let's have a listen to what he had to say about XRP back in the day.
We put up XRP and Solana and Dogecoin. Those are all, I believe, cons. I mean, if we think that the XRP slash USD coin is something that we should be following, well, I mean, we should be following, we should put up like Rent the Runway and Stitch Fix up there. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, this is the kind of idiot that he is. And this was at, 38 cents, okay? And now your XRP is at $2.38, soon to be, I'm sure, in the future of times. Well, we'll see. We'll see what it is. But you can see the game here. Bitcoin was back at 16 there, and ETH was back at 1.2 back in the day, and Solana was at $13. But you can see how they favoured. Look at even the organisation of these in their little patterns in terms of the stacking of the coins. Anyway, that's who you're up against, the mainstream media, and this is where this battle lies. Anyway, why am I not concerned about the markets? This is by Matthew Hyland. BT monthly closes, monthly Bollinger Bands have reached the most extreme levels in Bitcoin's entire history. These green things are the Bitcoin Bollinger Bands, and they're pretty tight. And so when they come tight, you generally get some moves in certain directions. Again, I've got to be very careful on this YouTube channel what I say now. But if you look at previous times where you have Bollinger Bands, you've seen an upthrust in activity with Bitcoin to the north. Again, we don't know. We'll see what happens. But they're interesting metrics to track nonetheless. Next up, Chat Steingraber. There's a post here by Quentin, which is Quentin Francis. And it says, COVID crash took 4 months to recover. Less than 4 weeks ago, crypto survived the biggest liquidation event in history. And he shows two charts here, Bitcoin USD 2024 to 26 and the 2020 to 2022, when you had a massive liquidation and then, a bounce back and, a consolidation before the final leg of the season, so to speak. I think that was in Bitcoin November 2021. And they're showing parallels between the charts potentially. I mean, I don't know. Guess, yeah, I can see the change in the upthrust, but Bitcoin hasn't done that here yet. It certainly isn't back up to that, so that doesn't quite make sense to me. But what he's thinking is that you had a massive liquidation event. I mean, the Bitcoin chart isn't quite like that, right? It isn't. I don't believe that the chart is anything like that. Quite frankly, it doesn't make any sense to me. But the point is, the big liquidation event. He's saying, it took 4 months to recover after a big liquidation event. I think we'd probably be down here still, or around here if that was the case. So you might get out, but if it's 4 months to recover, that would take us into January and February. I'm not sure I agree with that. It was something interesting anyway, but the point was the liquidation took 4 months to recover. Anyway, Mr. Raoul Powell, I usually like to give you a small fragment of global macro investor when I sit down and write this weekend. Crypto is driven by liquidity, as you know. For total 2ES to break higher, you need liquidity to make new highs. The government shut down and TGA delayed it. Okay, so there's no liquidity because the government shut down. So this is why the cycle seems to maybe taking a little bit longer. The everything go process, which debts get remonetized due to the extension of debts to the 5 years, the largest part of liquidity lies ahead. And this is a graph showing, the kind of the black line chasing the red line. I think this is what he's trying to say. So 2020. 2026, 27, 28, there's a forecast for greater liquidity. Moving on, again, just in US senators aim to pass Bitcoin and crypto market law. Well, it's not Bitcoin market law because that's already been set. Bitcoin doesn't need law, so that's very misleading. It's the crypto market laws, namely the Clarity and Structures Act, okay, before Thanksgiving. Okay, we can see that again here when we move into Mr. Brian Armstrong, who said recently, you've probably seen this in a previous video of mine.
To get this done.
Let's play. Let's go.
Hey everyone, Brian Armstrong here. I'm back in DC, and even though the government is shut down, the Senate is working hard on getting market structure legislation passed for crypto, which is great to see.
Oh, it's going to buffer.
With both the Senate Dems, the Senate Republicans, and I'd say they're 90% on the same page. There's draft text being shared back and forth between both parties. Both sides want to get this done. That last 10%, there's a couple remaining issues open, like, for instance, DeFi. We want to make sure that we're pushing to protect DeFi on all the innovation potential that can have, and that the centralized intermediaries in crypto, like Coinbase, should be regulated, not the protocols. And then, of course, we're making sure to preserve stablecoin rewards for you as well. The big banks are coming for their cash grab, trying to block that, even though it was just recently decided in the Genius Act, which just recently became law. We're not going to let them relitigate that. So with these last few issues getting wrapped up, we're hoping to see this bill come out of committee by Thanksgiving. That would be a great outcome. Fingers crossed. We're going to keep showing up for your rights, and we'll keep you updated. Thanks.
Now, Coinbase never had to fight the good fight until their own business model was threatened by the banking cartels. Now they're feeling the pinch, aren't they? Because before it was only Ripple feeling the pinch for 4 years during an SEC or 5 years during an SEC lawsuit. But now even Coinbase are having to really come out and fight the good fight, because if they don't, their business model is threatened as well. And he said himself, the big banks are threatening the process of trying to relitigate the Genius bill, And so they are trying to get things out by Thanksgiving. Okay, so again, why am I not bothered about this chop sideways? Because regulations are coming. Okay, and we talked so much about regulations on this channel. Why crypto regulations give structure, give clarity to the big institutions, the corporations to come on in. Via what? Via ETFs, via DATs, digital asset treasuries, exchange traded funds. So for corporate finance to enter our crypto world, there has to be a formal regulatory framework laid down. This is what all BG123 talked about back in the day. We'll focus on this later on in the Rumble channel. But for the understanding, the purpose of this is that you've got a window of time where the government shut down, there's no extra liquidity coming to the system, and regulations are on pause. This is why we're in a holding line. Just imagine you're in a plane on a runway waiting for takeoff. This is the way I kind of see things. Now, Gemini came out with a post quite interesting yesterday, quite cryptic, saying next week's looking real XRP coded. I wonder why that is. And I just speculate it might be something to do. Well, of course, it's Ripple Swell. So this is Bank XRP arrived in New York for Ripple Swell, and this billboard was the first thing I saw. It's happening to banking. Blockchain crypto is a reality. So, big things occurring. It's happening to banking, and that's in New York. Very interesting place to have it, right? Because New York is the financial center that's been controlled by the old banking world, and now Ripple are deliberately hosting their Swell there. It's a big change. Speaking about Swell, we can see the big kind of lineups. Now, they haven't posted anything today. Swell starts tomorrow on Tuesday the 4th of November, and it runs to the 5th. It's in New York, as you can see on the placeholder here. And you've got people from Franklin Templeton, Citi, Fidelity, and Ripple itself, Reese Merrick. We've seen Reese before. I think he's in the Asia region. But the point is, you've got these financial banking giants, and this is institutional custody and tokenization with investment banks. The banks are here, and they're quite comfy with Ripple all of a sudden, right? Because there's less regulatory uncertainty. We're going to go into this later on with the video. Now, why you should all be very comfy right now. This is an old picture, and there's way more than this. I believe there's 20 now. This is a post, shout out to Sarah Ops, who's reposted this, which is breaking several XRP ETF applications, including Grayscale, Bitwise, WisdomTree, are nearing their crucial SEC decision dates this month. And I believe there's another 7 to add to this. Now, these are applications for spot and futures ETFs for XRP. Why might you be pretty comfy in your positions right now? Because this lot want to get their XRP ETFs filed, and we're seeing XRP ETFs filed even though the governments are shut down. Interesting, right? Interesting, right? We know that things are about to change. There's change coming on the horizon. So why you might be comfy is that you've got all these coming down the line. Okay, it's all good, guys. I think that we can just sit and we can wait. I'm just going to bring one thing up to do with the riddlers, and then I'm going to leave this video for them. We're going to talk about this. We're going to move over to over to Rumble in a minute, and we're going to look at this calendar and see why November was the key one. Brian Armstrong is giving us plenty of telegraphing. November, which is Thanksgiving, November the 27th in the United States, trying to get these regulations through November. Now, why was the calendar drop a bearable guy 1, 2, 3 showing the kind of swords crossed, the battle lines? Swords are a piracy symbol, and they were all over November. Why? Because this is where the battle is, the final battle before the level playing field. It all plays out in regulations, guys. It's all before law. And once the law is passed, there's no turning back. You've got the crypto decided for the financial futures. Anyway, we're going to move into that a little bit later on the Rumble. In fact, I'm going to record it now, straight off the back of this. Alright, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please give it a like. Please drop a comment, tell me where you are now in the world. I always say that because it always fascinates me to hear where my readership is. I could go and look at analytics, but it just doesn't give you the same kind of feel when you hear people saying, yeah, I'm from Massachusetts, or I'm listening from Texas, or I'm in Australia. It's like, wow, it's quite crazy. It's a small world. Anyway, pop on the Rumble channel. If you haven't seen the Rumble channel, that is where I drop the kind of the riddles, the coded stuff that I do, or decoded stuff. It's pinned in my Twitter account here on the top, Rumble. You can see the link here. That'll take you to Digital Asset Verse. And if you're not subscribed to YouTube, please sub to it. We're trying to get the readership back up. That's good. Since we've been deplatformed, that's back up and running now. Anyhow, have a great day. Have a great start to the week. Keep the faith. Don't let the chop give you a case of weak hands. There's plenty of good stuff coming. And this market is set to kind of try and wobble people out. Think long. This is a long game. We're investors, not traders. And this asset class is developing into something way bigger than any of us can really wrap our heads around right now. This is a long, long journey. I'll be here with it for you all. All right, take care. Have a great day. Have a great week. And look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Take care. Be blessed. Bye for now.